You're listening to the Neighborhood Bulldog, where the porch light's always on and the maroon runs deep. I'm Scott Nabors, and this is your home for real Mississippi State sports talk. Around here, we don't chase headlines. We break down the wins, the losses, the culture, and what it really means to be a Bulldog. If it matters in Starkville, it matters here. So pull up a chair, grab a drink, and welcome to the neighborhood. Hail State. Welcome into another episode of the Neighborhood Bulldog, where we will recap an absolutely massive weekend in Mississippi State athletics, but even bigger, the Diamond Dogs, Mississippi State baseball, and Brian O'Connor, proving to the world, the SEC, the rankings, the committee members, that Mississippi State baseball is for real. We are back, and we are coming to Omaha with national championship on our mind this season. Lots to prove as we headed into the weekend. And as I said, Mississippi State baseball did exactly that, having faced some lower teams to get to this point. And then the real test, the tournament, the M&G Bank Classic in Arlington at Globe Life Park this weekend, where we faced three very, very talented teams and come away from the weekend with a 2-1 record. As I said on our last episode, if Mississippi State could end up pulling at least 2 of the 3 games this weekend, then that would prove that they are for real, they're back, and they're ready to compete. And I think that's exactly what we saw. Had a lot of national media attending this tournament, paying attention to it, and I think they came away very impressed as well. So jumping into it, Mississippi State got things started on Friday morning at 11 a.m. first pitch against Arizona State. Arizona State came into the game looking very good, only losing 1 game on the season so far up to that point. And Mississippi State proved what we hoped they would prove, that they could handle good teams. Mississippi State gets things going with a win 8-4 over Arizona State. Actually started 0-0 until a Bryce Chance RBI single in the 5th inning. So really tight game there as we got to the middle innings. And then Garrick Fry followed him with a 3-run home run to give us a 4-0 lead in that game. Aiden Till got himself a home run in the 8th inning to make it 8-2. Arizona State, man. Arizona State wasn't really going away. Had 2 solo home runs hit by them in the 9th inning to get it up to 8-4. And finally, we were able to shut it down and stop the bleeding there in the 9th. But a great game overall for Mississippi State. And great teams have great performances when their best player may not be having the best game themselves. Ace Reese, 0 for 5 on the day. So Mississippi State has a great offensive output, wins 8-4 against a talented Arizona State team, and that's without the help of Ace Reese. Garrick Fry, like I mentioned, 1 for 2 with 3 RBIs on the day. Pitching-wise, Arizona State, we said they were going to face their Friday night starter, which is Cole Carlin, and he actually went 4.2 innings, 2 hits, gave up 3 earned runs, and had 2 walks to 7 Ks. So not a terrible start by him. But it was what Mississippi State did on the mound that really told the tale of the game to me. We started our Friday starter, Ryan McPherson, who went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, just 1 earned run, and had 3 walks to 5 Ks to get his 2nd win of the season. We had Maddox Miller come in and close it out. Very talented freshman there, and looked really, really good and felt really good after the end of that game on Friday. Moving into Saturday, we already knew Tomas Valencius was going to pitch for us Saturday and felt good about it. I thought Virginia Tech, I expected an offensive game more so than against Arizona State. just because the state of their pitching. I didn't think their pitcher was going to be that good, and he really wasn't. So Mississippi State's offense jumped on him early and took care of business, beating Virginia Tech 15-8 there on Saturday afternoon. Things got started for Reed Stallman. Uh, just immediately gets an RBI double in the first inning. Then you have a Ace Reese 2-run home run in the second inning. Got the freshman Jacob Parker pinch hitting with a 3-run home run in the eighth. And, just some timely hitting, some big flies, power baseball. That's what this game was about. Um, Again, had a little bit of trouble closing the game out. Virginia Tech actually hits back to back to back home runs in the ninth inning there before we close it out and stop the bleeding on that one. You know, we end up winning 15-8, but it was a lot worse than that before that ninth inning there. Player of the game for me on that one is going to be Aiden Till. 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Ace Reese woke back up on that Saturday, 3 for 5, 2 RBIs and a home run. And Ryder Woodson has a breakout game, 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored. And then, like we talked about last week, Bryce Chance holding down that 9-hole spot, going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs, just doing the thing that he knows how to do there. Tomas Valencius on the mound, again, another great start by him. 5.1 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and only 1 walk to 7 Ks. That is getting the job done. Great job by him on the mound. Likewise, Virginia Tech's pitcher, Griffin Steig, who we talked about last week, 2 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. So Mississippi State offense did exactly what they should have done against him and got him out of the game there pretty early. So great, great first 2 games in the M&G Bank Classic there. Mississippi State already proving that they are a wagon. They've got power baseball, situational baseball, pitching, bullpen, everything was flowing perfectly. And then we get to today's game that probably had the most hype of any regular season game I've seen in years, where Mississippi State, as the only 11-0 team in the country, one of 4 undefeated teams left in the country, going to face off against number 1 in the country, the UCLA Bruins. We hoped for a little bit of payback from when we faced UCLA in the College World Series finals in 2013, but ultimately Mississippi State did not get that. But what a game. One of the best games you will ever see. Just 2 absolute heavyweights. It looked like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, whoever you want to say, just throwing haymakers at each other from start to finish. Just an absolute dogfight in this game. So we're going to dive into how it happened. And then we're going to highlight one thing that I really want to talk about from it. So ultimately, Mississippi State got hosed. Okay. Mississippi State won this ball game. The scoreboard, the record, the schedule, all the official things will tell you Mississippi State lost this game. But anybody watching that game knows Mississippi State won this game. Okay. And that's not to whine about the referees or the umpires at all. But we're going to get into why I say that. So, great game to start. Mississippi State actually has to come back from being down 3-0 as we go into the 4th inning, and then we get a Reed Stallman 2-run home run, and then a Ryder Woodson double actually ties it at 3. And then in the 7th inning, Jacob Parker gets a sac fly to give us the 4-3 lead over UCLA late in the ballgame there. In the 8th inning, Noah Sullivan has an insurance run by just smashing a solo shot to give us the 5-3 lead there in the 8th inning. Okay. We go into the ninth inning, and this is where things kind of get interesting. Ben Davis on the mound for Mississippi State. He hits Dean West on the foot with 2 outs in the ninth inning. Okay. The next batter, Rock Chalowski, who is likely to be a first-round draft pick for UCLA, is their shortstop. Big, lean guy, power, speed, the prototype baseball prospect. Ben Davis absolutely grooves one and hangs a slider. I mean, it could not have been more down the middle if he ran up there and set it on a tee for him and said, "Here, hit it." And Chalowski just absolutely smashes it to left center field, over the bullpen, over the little maintenance area. I mean, just an absolute mammoth home run there to tie the game 5-5 in the top of the ninth. So again, if you're a Mississippi State fan, you're thinking, good Lord, really? We're going through this again? Well, bottom of the ninth comes around, and Mississippi State gets a leadoff man on, and then Ryder Woodson gets a ground rule double to right center field. And it's unfortunate that it was a ground rule double, because if it stays in the fence, the game is over. Mississippi State wins the ball game right there that quickly. Ultimately, the ball goes over the fence. It's a ground rule double, which means Gatlin Sanders, who was pinch running for Andrew Raymond, has to stop at third. Okay. Nevertheless, Mississippi State's got second and third with nobody out. The winning run is on third base. Okay. Everybody's feeling good. Well, then we have Jacob Parker that comes up to bat. He strikes out. Okay. Bryce Chance is intentionally walked to load the bases. And then Aiden Till, on a 3-2 count, takes a ball, and I say takes a ball because it was a ball, inside under his hands, about an inch off the plate inside. Celebrates, starts heading down the first base. The game's over. Mississippi State wins the game. Umpire calls strike 3 on Aiden Till there. And then Ace Reese grounds out to second to end that inning. So, second and third, nobody out. You don't score the winning run. You don't win the game right there. Even though you really did win the game because the umpire blew the call, proven by the announcer's reactions, proven by anyone with eyeballs that can see that the ball did not go over the plate, as well as because Mississippi State was playing in Globe Life Park, a Major League Baseball stadium. They are now equipped with the ABS tracking system, as players can challenge pitches, strikes, and balls this season. So the entire game, we were able to get a glimpse into some of that, even though college doesn't have access to that. And yes, the ball was inside off the plate. It was ball 4. The game should have been over. Mississippi State wins. That didn't happen. The umpire blew the call. Ace Reese grounds out to second, and we go to the top of the 10th inning. Top of the 10th comes around. We get a strikeout. We walk a guy, and we hit a guy. And then Brian O'Connor brings in Chris Billingsley. Not only does he bring in Chris Billingsley, you've now changed out your catcher to Sean James, who hasn't caught the whole day. And Chris Billingsley comes in and gets a ground out to shortstop. And then he gets a walk. And then he gets a wild pitch. And that wild pitch gives UCLA the 6-5 lead there in the top of the 10th. Right after that, Aiden Espinoza hits a 2 RBI triple to the fence off Chris Billingsley to take an 8-5 lead. And at this point, if you're a Mississippi State fan, you know you just got screwed. You know the game should be over. You know you won the game. But what you're watching is showing, okay, here we go again. That's the most Mississippi State thing ever. Let's see if we can have some magic in the bottom of the 10th. Bottom of the 10th comes around. Noah Sullivan leads off with a double. And then Reed Stallman, who just seems to have the clutch gene this season, comes through with a 2-run home run to make it 8-7 in the bottom of the 10th. From the time he hit that 2-run home run to bring it back to a 1-run game, we strike out. Ryder Woodson hits a single, and then we line out to shortstop. Game over. In the scorebook, Mississippi State loses that ball game against number 1 in the country, UCLA. So you can see the haymakers being thrown. You can see the back and forth, the heavyweight battle this game was, start to finish. It felt like a College World Series final championship deciding game. The notable today in this game for me, absolutely no question about it, Mr. Reed Stallman, 3 for 3, 4 RBIs, and then you had Ryder Woodson again, another breakout day, 4 for 5 with 1 RBI. If Ryder Woodson keeps hitting the baseball like he is, we're going to be just fine. He has finally broken out and shown that he belongs, and that's really good to see from him. Pitching, last week as we previewed this series, we talked about I thought this would be an offensive game. UCLA was going to pitch Landon Stump, who had a 278 batting average against him. And I felt like Mississippi State's lineup would be able to hit him. Well, they really didn't. He kind of held us in check, going 3 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and 1 walk to 3 Ks. He managed the game well. Props to him. I thought we should have hit him a little better than we did. Mississippi State did what I thought they would do and started Duke Stone rather than Charlie Foster on Sunday, and I think that was the correct move. But Duke Stone, 3.2 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, had no walks on the day, and 2 Ks there. And then Ben Davis comes in for relief, probably pitched the most in relief of anybody. 3.1 innings, 2 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. I understand if you're a bullpen pitcher that things happen. You come in some tough situations. But if you're a bullpen guy, Ben Davis is an experienced bullpen guy, you can't give up 4 runs. It can't happen. The 2 Ks, the 1 walk, that's okay. You just cannot give up 4 earned runs. You got to get the ball down, get it on the ground, and get out of there. So I want to talk for a minute about the call. And all Mississippi State fans and most baseball fans will know exactly what call I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 3-2 count, game on the line, bases loaded, pitch to Aiden Till that was a ball. The umpire called it a strike. I don't care what the umpire called it. It was a ball. It was a ball when I saw it on TV. It was a ball when the announcers thought it was a ball. It was a ball when the dugout gave the reaction they gave. And it was a ball when the TrackMan system proved that it was an inch off the plate inside and that the game was over and Mississippi State should have won the ball game. And here is what I want to speak to. I was a coach. Baseball has been my entire life since I stopped coaching 5 years ago. Everything I have done in my life has revolved around baseball and either playing it or coaching it. I know the game. And I can tell you that every pitch matters. Every single pitch matters. You have some coaches that say, well, baseball is a game of inches. Baseball is absolutely a game of inches. And you also have coaches, and that's fine. I agree with them that say, well, you can't leave it up to the umpire. I used to say it when I was a coach. You can't leave it up to the umpire to make a bad call because what do umpires do most of the time? If you're talking about a call that the umpire made, it's a bad one. Okay. You can't leave the game in their hands because they make bad calls. That's what they do. They blow calls all the time. That's fine. That's a fine philosophy as well. And coaches will say, "Well, we had other chances to win the game." That's right. You had other chances to win the game. Any batter that you had could also hit a home run every time they stepped in the box, and you win the game 30-0. Every batter from the other team could have struck out, and your pitcher throws a perfect game, and every hitter you have hits a home run, and you blow them out and win the game. That's unrealistic. Okay. The game happens for a reason. Every pitch matters because every pitch matters. It does not matter worth a damn how we got in the situation for Aiden Till to have bases loaded, a 3-2 count with one out on him. It doesn't matter how we got there. All that matters is what happens from that pitch forward. Anything that happened before the current pitch does not matter. It only matters what happens then and moving forward. Okay? First of all. Second thing I've seen people say, well, you can't be mad about just one pitch. Yes, I can. Yes, we can, and you should be too. Because I remember when I was outside for 16 hours a day working on a baseball field and coaching players and recruiting players and drawing spray charts to scout the other team's batters and drawing strike zones to scout the other team's pitchers. I remember doing that every day, year round for 3 years. And then you talk about the players that are up at 5 a.m. lifting weights. They go to class all day, then they come to practice, then they got to go to dinner, then they got to go to study hall, then they get to go home and get in the bed and do it all again the very next day. You can be mad when it's just one pitch because that one pitch entails everything I just said. And when you invest the time and the energy into the game and into the kids on your team, and the kids invest their time and energy and talent to learn the game and get better and work and perform, to have it ripped away because some geriatric behind the plate can't see straight is ridiculous. You absolutely have a right to be mad when an umpire, I don't care what sport it is, an umpire in baseball, a referee in football, a referee in basketball, they get paid to make the right call. They get paid to make the right call every single time they have to make a call. It is not, oh, well, they made the right call when it mattered, or they made the bad call when it mattered. You're paid to make the right call every time, every single time. And when I'm in the dugout with a team full of kids that have invested their time and energy, and I've taken time away from my family to invest my time and energy, I expect your ass to make the right, correct call every time. Mistakes happen. I understand that, and nobody's perfect. But you get paid to make the right call. And there is an expectation from every person in the stands, every person on the field, and every person in the dugout that you're going to make the correct call because that's what you were trained to do. And it burns me up constantly seeing umpires with an agenda that, for whatever reason, well, I stand this way, so I always call the outside corner. I don't give a damn. If the outside corner don't include the damn strike zone, fix your damn strike zone or change how you stand behind the freaking plate. I'm sick of it. There is too much time and money invested into this sport and into these kids for umpires to F it up and rip it away from them when they earned it. I would say this no matter who the team was. I don't care. I would say this if it was Ole Miss that got screwed on the call in the same situation today. I'm tired of seeing umpires that get paid to make calls blow the game, and it happens constantly. And thank goodness MLB gives us a system where they are held in check. Could you imagine Angel Hernandez having the ABS system in his games if he was still umpiring this season? You would never get through the game. They just had an umpire behind the plate for a spring training game last week miss 6 straight pitches. That's an umpire that's hoping to go to the major leagues. Do you know what you get if you're a umpire in Major League Baseball? You get to fly first class to every city you have a game to call. You fly first class, unpaid. League covers it. You also get like $150, $200 per diem to spend on food and everything that you want to do. You also have an insane amount of other perks, hotel perks, food perks, travel perks. You're getting all this benefit because you're expected to call the game the right way and make the right damn calls. The umpire today, I'm sure he's a nice man. I'm sure he's got a great family. And yes, you can say, well, it's just one pitch. It wasn't just one pitch. If you watch the game, it was both teams the entire game. And the problem I have with it as a Mississippi State fan is if UCLA threw a pitch exactly like they threw to Aiden Till, okay? Go back and watch the game. Aiden Till, ball is in under his hands and kind of runs a little bit, and it's an inch off the plate inside. It was ball 4. The game was over. Go look at Ace Reese's at bat right after Aiden Till there when he grounds out to second. The same exact pitch was thrown to Ace Reese, and he took it, and it's called a ball. The same exact pitch. The pitcher couldn't have ran it up there and put it more of a pinpoint for it to be the exact same spot that Aiden Till had strike 3 called on him. Not only that, some umpires do better on right-handed batters than they do left-handed batters. Aiden Till and Ace Reese are both left-handed batters. So why was one strike 3 and the other one not strike 3? You know why? You really want to know why? Because one would have ended the game and given Mississippi State a win and the other one wouldn't. That's why. If you really want to get down to it. The entire game, we threw pitches that were in the exact same spot. That UCLA was getting strike calls, we were getting them called balls. The whole game. The broadcast on Flow, College Sports, whatever. Yes, I paid and I watched it. The broadcast had at least 10 other pitches, other than the one I'm talking about right now, that the umpire blew. And every single one of them was to the benefit of UCLA. If you have an umpire that likes the inside corner, and it's a strike on the inside corner, and he's calling it, as a hitter, you have to make an adjustment. But the first thing you're looking for is consistency. To say, okay, we have to adjust. Hey, pitcher, you're going to start throwing it here because he likes this spot today. Okay, great. That's fine. That's not what we got today. The umpire today was so all over the damn place, nobody could keep up with anything. Literally, the exact same pitches being called balls for our pitchers, being called strikes for UCLA pitchers. The entire game. I'm not making this up. They showed that ABS graphic at least 8 to 10 other times, and he was wrong on every single one of them. How do you let that happen? when you have the number 4 team in the country who's undefeated versus the number 1 team in the country in a big tournament that's got top teams from all over in it. How do you let that happen? As a league, as an organization, whatever. I'm tired of umpires blowing the games because that umpire screwed us. That umpire blew the game that Mississippi State fought, came back from down behind, took the lead, got down again, and won the game. And the umpire ripped it away. And guess what? At the end of the season, Brian O'Connor and the Bulldogs are going to be sitting there with a loss on their schedule that they know shouldn't be there. That umpire today left that game and probably went to Whataburger's drive-thru and is getting to go home to his family and just have, just another night at home. Gets to go to bed and go to his day job tomorrow. He gets to make that call with no consequences. Meanwhile, UCLA benefits and Mississippi State gets consequences by having another loss on their schedule that shouldn't be there. That's absurd, and that's what I'm sick of. It doesn't matter what the sport is. These officials have no repercussions for being bad at their jobs. If I'm bad at my job, I get fired. Chris Lamonis was bad at his job. He got fired. Chris Jans is bad at his job. Who knows what happens there? But when you have officials who are bad at their jobs, they just get to go about it like it's any other day because they have no time invested into the game. That's why it doesn't matter to them. And that's what I'm sick of. Now, Mississippi State, while they got screwed on Sunday, and everybody watching the game again, I'm not whining. That's facts. It ain't whining if it's factual. And anybody watching that game saw Mississippi State win that ball game. I don't care if you had a strikeout after that. I don't care if you flew out to shortstop or line drive to shortstop to end the game. I don't care that the dude hit a triple in the top of the 10th. None of that should have happened. The game was over. And that's my point. Now, Mississippi State comes off this weekend hopefully mad as hell because I am. And I'm not even a player or a coach anymore. But they don't get any breaks. You go straight into Tuesday. And unfortunately, the thing about being one of the top programs in the country is the biggest game is always your next game because you're the hunted. And Mississippi State is going to what is probably going to be one of the more hostile environments they will go to this season, including Fayetteville, Arkansas, including Oxford, including we don't go to LSU, but that's going to be a heck of a series in Starkville with an atmosphere that's crazy. Mississippi State's got to go to Hattiesburg, Mississippi on Tuesday night and face an absolute red-hot Southern Miss Golden Eagles team. Probably going to be a sellout crowd. Probably going to be extremely raucous. Going to be an insane environment there as Southern Miss just came off sweeping Louisiana Tech at the Love Shack. The first time they have swept Louisiana Tech on the road since 2009. And then they had that great opening weekend series with UC Santa Barbara. Mississippi State going to Hattiesburg on Tuesday night. That is going to be one of the top midweek games of the year in the country. And it's going to be a dogfight. And if Mississippi State players and coaches are letting today piss them off and linger, we're going to get beat Tuesday. We may get beat anyway Tuesday. Southern Miss is an absolutely for real baseball team. Right now, today, they look 10 times better than the 2009 Southern Miss team that made it to Omaha. And Southern Miss has been knocking on the door to Omaha many, many, many times. And this team right now, this year, looks like the Southern Miss team that's going to actually do it. And one of two things is going to happen. They're going to really solidify their place as a top 10 team on Tuesday if they beat Mississippi State. Or Mississippi State is just going to continue to prove that they are legit and they are for real as we head into SEC play. Mississippi State needs to focus incredibly hard on this game Tuesday night, and then you get kind of a break as you go into the weekend hosting Lipscomb here at home before you get into SEC play. But you had the biggest game of the year, probably the biggest game in several years for Mississippi State today, and Tuesday only gets bigger. So I am very intrigued and very interested to see how we come out, what our energy looks like Tuesday, because I'm telling you, that game is going to be an absolute brawl from start to finish. In-state, not really rivals, but whenever the in-state schools play each other, it gets a little wild. And that one is going to be one for the books. I can already tell you. In other action, the softball team got some wins over the weekend, continuing their winning ways with wins over Wofford, Georgia Southern, and then a split with Clemson. They lost and then beat them today. Women's basketball. Women's basketball loses 72-63 today to the LSU Tigers. That's a respectable score. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. I know nothing about it other than the final score. It could have been 72-10, and we come back. I have no idea. But 72-63 seems like a respectable score. I will give Sam Purcell that because LSU has been playing lights out lately. Mississippi State women end the regular season 18-12, 5-11 in conference. That conference schedule is going to have to get better than that. The Lady Bulldogs are going to play Florida on Wednesday, which is the start of the SEC tournament. And we'll see how they do from there. I hope they make a run. I hope they can squeak into the tournament. And then the other sport that we play that's on hardwood, just completely, I mean, what do you want to say? What is there to say about them at this point? When you're watching a game and you're getting beat so badly that you're wondering, I'm glad I'm not a media member because I wouldn't even know what to say. I don't even know what question to ask. Well, coach, what'd you see out there? Well, we suck. What else is there to say about it? And that's been the case for the last 3 weeks for this men's basketball team. Ever since Mississippi State beat Auburn on the legendary back of Josh Hubbard's 46 points, they have been absolutely absent from every basketball game they've played. They get absolutely torched at Alabama last Wednesday night. And you're thinking, okay, well, it was very frustrating, but hey, at least we come back home to Humphrey Coliseum and play the Missouri Tigers. At least we'll be in front of our home crowd where we'll have some energy, everything will look good, and we can get back to what we expect. Right? Wrong. Another absolutely pathetic, embarrassing, garbage performance from the men's basketball team, losing at home 88-64 to the Missouri Tigers. Now they have a game at Florida, and then they play Georgia here at home before going to the SEC tournament. And I've got no faith at this point. I've got none. Josh Hubbard can't do it all himself, and there's nobody else stepping up. There's no energy. The players look lost. Chris Jans looks like he's on a flight to another job. I mean, it's just a complete crap show. And if you sit down and you're watching the entire basketball game at this point, bless you. I don't know why you are. You'd have more fun sitting in a lawn chair in the yard soaking up the sun. Um, but just a completely, really just a dead season at this point for the men's basketball team. Um, we will be back with you after Tuesday's massive baseball game at Southern Miss. And I'm hoping Mississippi State baseball can pull that off. That would be another massive cog in the wheel of the Brian O'Connor machine after what was a fantastic weekend. The questions surrounding Brian O'Connor and Mississippi State up to this point has been, are they for real? Do they belong? They haven't played anybody yet. And this weekend proved that not only do they belong, they are a national championship contender from top to bottom in that lineup and could absolutely win the entire thing as long as we stay healthy. So we'll be back with you. Thanks for joining us again. And be sure to like, subscribe, and listen and join the neighborhood. Hail State.